Hello, Facebook Live on a Monday morning. Jackie Broman here from TBA Law. I wanted to talk today about digital estates. So it was something that I was banging on about a lot 3 or 4 years ago because I actually did a research paper on it during my master's degree and I came up with this way of dealing with it. So I really haven't spoken too much about it over the last 3 years because the clauses I use in my documents takes care of this issue. But most of us these days have a lot of our assets online. So when I talk about assets, I'm talking about either owning domain names, I'm talking about photos that you've got stored in the cloud or in Dropbox or some other facility like that. I'm talking about documents, particularly if you write. So you've obviously got copyright rights on digital things that are not necessarily stored on your hard drive, but are again stored in the cloud or Dropbox or Evernote or one of those kind of accounts. I'm also talking about reward points. So your flybys, your everyday rewards that you're mounting up everywhere. These are obviously worth something. And I'm also talking about the profiles that professionals are building these days because your profile has some value, whether it's directly related to your business or it's a personal profile, there is value in it. Particularly people creating Instagram accounts these days, there are people who are able to live off the proceeds from their Instagram account. So there's obviously some value in what they're creating, but it's this thing in an account that they don't own, even though there's value in it. And if something happened to them, how do they pass that on so that the family can benefit from it? So there are different categories, obviously, well maybe not obviously, there are different categories of these digital things that can be passed on and some that can't. For those of us who spend a lot of money in iTunes or other places like that where you're buying music or you're buying video, movies, TV series, when you buy that, you're actually buying a license. You're not buying the thing itself. It's a personal license for you to watch it. You cannot transfer that license to someone else. Luckily, iTunes has this file sharing ability where you can have 5 other accounts using the same stuff that you're buying. So that's the way where other people can continue to have access to it. Otherwise, when you're buying that stuff online, you cannot transfer it to someone else. You can't transfer your account. All that money that you're investing is gone. Whereas there are other assets, like I'm talking about documents and photos that you create that then you upload somewhere are yours. You're just storing them somewhere, so you should be able to recover them. And that does have some value. So how do we deal with that? So a couple of scenarios. First scenario would be a photographer, professional photographer. Here you go, Sammy, this might be relevant to you. Doing your photography, doing your videos, you're storing them online. They've got value, so people are going to want to recover them if you are no longer around to access your account. Now, a lot of people get around this by using the same laptop, for example, as the person who's passed away because the passwords are often stored. So they can still get in and recover that stuff. If they're able to do that, great. Technically, it's illegal, but it's a way around it, right? You've accessed someone's account under their name. It's technically fraudulent because you're accessing it not as yourself, but you can get the stuff back. And if you've got the authority to act because you're the executor, then I would say that it's still okay. However, the way I get around this is by having special clauses in my powers of attorney and will to actually give that authority, so it would not be illegal. So the people who come to me to do these documents actually give the authority for someone to be able to use their password, and so they wouldn't be accessing it fraudulently. The other scenario is with accounts that have your profile. So things like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook is a big one. They've at least got some way of managing or memorialising an account. However, it still doesn't deal completely with the issue. Facebook continually refuses to recognise executors or powers of attorney, particularly because most of these companies I'm talking about are not Australian companies, they're US companies, but when they deal with people who live outside the US, they have subsidiary companies in Ireland. So technically, European law applies to us in Australia for after someone passes away. So again, the reason I haven't banged on about this for a couple of years is because the clauses I put in my documents cover that situation as well. There's an express provision dealing with Facebook so they can't have a comeback. Really sad scenarios happen where, for example, there's a questionable death of a young person where it seems to be suicide, but there's suspicious circumstances. Now, often these young people don't have their documentation in place, so there wouldn't be able to be a clause like I do anyway. But so Facebook can memorialise those accounts, yeah, but they never ever give authority to a parent or to an executor to be able to recover the communication through that account. So they hide behind privacy laws and don't give communications for, say, the last month or so before someone's death to see whether there was, messenger communications or whatever behind the scenes. So all of this stuff can be solved if the documentation is done and it's done right. So a couple more points. So firstly, I covered that a lot of the things that you have online aren't necessarily your assets, they're a license. So the music that you're downloading, the movies and TV shows, they're licensed on your account. You can't transfer them. So in some ways you might be throwing money away because it's not something you can pass on. Secondly, the matter can be solved fairly simply for assets that you do actually own that you can recover. So things of value, copyright in documents that you have saved in the cloud, photos and video that you have saved in the cloud. It can be recoverable so that your family can continue to earn income or have value from it after you've passed away. Unpublished works, things like this, there is value in them. It'll be interesting to see how the value in an Instagram account can be passed on. Certainly a business account, a Facebook business page, an Instagram business account can be transferred during the sale of a business, but a personal account who is earning money themselves, it'll be interesting to see if they can recover any value on a transfer of what they've been doing. But no doubt that will arise at some point. The law is too slow to keep up with this, so it will happen and it will be determined by a court at some point, and then we'll see it all in the news. But for those people who come to see me, their power of attorney has express powers to deal with online accounts and recover passwords, and the same for executors in their will. So check your wills. If you go to see other solicitors, ask them about this specifically because they may not know how to deal with it, or they might come and get some advice on how to deal with it. So I'm going to finish up this morning. We've got one more Facebook post next week before Christmas, and really looking forward to the break then. Anyway, I'll see you soon again.